Hey everybody, Mary here from Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and welcome. I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to join me, and hopefully everything goes awesome and smooth today. All right, everybody, I'm gonna get calm down because it's been a crazy day. It's been a crazy day for so many people, and I totally understand. It's been wild. So today is Thursday, October 10th. I'm trying something a little different today. Let me see if I can get the comments up here. Live chat. All my chats are visible. Awesome. Okay, so comment section is enabled. Come on in, join me, grab a comfy seat. If you are just joining me for the first time, welcome. For those of you that join me regularly, welcome back. My name is Mary, and I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. And I try to go live here on YouTube every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Now, I had some technical difficulties the last couple times. Hey, Moonblade, thanks for joining me. For some reason, YouTube is not letting me make my videos horizontal when I schedule it in advance. Kind of silly, right? So today I didn't schedule the video. I just went ahead and went live, but I told everybody that we were going to have a live. And of course I try to go live. Hey, Caitlin, one of my regulars, two of my regulars, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Tonight's topic is super important. Now, usually I'm like in the description section, we got all this information, but since I am winging it tonight on going the live, I was not able to share that. But as soon as my live chat is done, I will add all the information into this description. So if you're watching the replay, you'll see all that information down below. We had some crazy storms in the US this last couple weeks. We had Helene that came in and wiped out a bunch of people. We had Milton come through and wipe out a bunch of people. Hello, my Florida friends, if you're watching me. North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. It's just been crazy, and I totally understand that you've got a lot on your plate and you're probably missing my live chat. But, oh, I know, the text is not going to get fixed. YouTube has made some changes to their live chat stuff, and it hasn't been very user-friendly, but that's okay. I'm just going to roll with it. You know what it says. It says Mary's Heirloom Seed, so we're good to go. Hey, Inga, thanks for joining me. So, last Saturday, I was at the Kaufman County Master Gardeners Fall Event. It was so much fun. I had a table. I was invited to have a vendor table there. I was not speaking at this one. My next event that I will be speaking at will be in Athens, Texas in November. I will share all the descriptions about that, the details. It's like $25 for 3 days. It's going to be a massive homestead farming event. It is the East Texas, or just the Texas Permaculture Expo. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that if you're local. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But this weekend, I was asked a lot of different questions. Some beginner gardeners joined me, some of my customers that are regular customers. I got to meet and chat with them, which was awesome. And one very important question, a lady comes rushing in at the last minute. I mean, I literally was just about to start boxing up my stuff on my table. It was like 1:30. We ended at 2. And she comes up to my table and she said, I'm a customer. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what she said. But she's a customer. And she's like, I came here just for you. She's like, my father just came into town. And I was like, they chatted for the morning and they're like, hey, I got to go. I got to talk to this lady. So she was so awesome to talk to me. And she asked me specifically about root knot nematodes and tomatoes. Now, if you don't know what a root knot nematode is, it is in your soil. It is a pest, and it is exactly what it sounds like. If you ever have a tomato that doesn't do very well, it's sickly, it's not producing, or it just keels over and dies, pull that sucker out. Check out those roots. And if those roots aren't nice and smooth-ish, I mean, it's one thing if they're a little like crooked here and there, they're not going to be completely straight roots. Crooked is no big deal. If they're a bunch of big knots and bumpy, that is root knot nematodes. Now you've got good nematodes and you've got bad nematodes. Kind of weird, right? The good nematodes will kill the bad nematodes. So there are a couple ways. I'm going to start off by saying there are a couple ways that you can fix nematodes in your soil, the bad ones. Number one is solarize. So I was reading one article and it was like, okay, so take your soil and put it in the oven and bake it low. I'm looking at this going, this is not for farmers or backyard homesteaders. This is for like a single pot that you put your soil on a pan and put it in the oven. That's not going to work for most of us. So the other one is solarize. So you're going to take black matting, or you can do clear plastic matting. You can do landscape cloth. You might even be able to try something like a tarp if you already have it. I'm a big fan of not buying things. I like to use something that I already have. So I do have an extra tarp over here that I use when I had baby chicks. So you can solarize your soil, and that's literally just the black plastic is what's recommended because it attracts the heat. It's literally letting the sun bake your soil. So that's one option, is solarizing. Unfortunately, that means not planting in that area for a while. Number two is buying beneficial nematodes, and you release those suckers into your soil and they will kill the bad nematodes. So that's another option for you. Unfortunately, it's fairly expensive because it's a small amount. And if you've got a lot of different garden beds, then it's an issue. Fortunately, I don't have root knot nematodes. And sometimes, hey, Patriots Rabbitry, David, happy birthday. And thank you for joining me. I know that you're in Florida and hopefully you were not hit too bad. Hey, Christian, thanks for joining me. So I don't have root knot nematodes here. And one of the causes of that, sometimes if you've got awesome soil and you buy plants from a nursery, that is one way of getting root knot nematodes. It could just be that that's what happened to your soil. You could have bought bagged soil or bought bulk soil and then brought it in with you. I don't really know all of the causes of root knot nematodes. Sometimes they're just present in your soil. So you can solarize, you can yeah, when you buy ladybugs, they are going to fly away. So we talked about solarizing. We talked about beneficial nematodes. And the other one is going to be, yep, I know, that's right. You're way more north. The other one is going to be planting disease-resistant tomatoes. And now what my customer was saying was, by the way, I'm not using names just because, for privacy reasons, I don't like to be, share all that information. So the other option is, like I said, disease-resistant tomatoes. And she said the only thing she could find online specifically was hybrids. And she didn't want to plant hybrids. She wanted to plant heirlooms. So I was like, I will find the answer. One other way, actually, I take that back. One other way that you can also kill or deter bad root knot nematodes in your soil, hey, Jenny, thanks for joining us, is marigolds. But on one hand, you can say, well, plant the marigolds and the roots might exude a chemical that will kill or deter those nematodes. The other side of the coin there, from what I read, was that you actually have to chop and drop. So what you're going to do then is you're going to grow the marigold. Then you're going to chop it down and you're going to dig it under into your soil. And I know that isn't necessarily like the permaculture way. Some people do the no-dig gardening, but again, we're talking about being able to plant and not being able to plant. So I'm definitely going to dig it under. I'm not going to till it under because I don't till my raised beds, but you can definitely chop down that plant and then dig it under your soil. And then hopefully the leaves, the flowers, and the roots can be added into your soil and like mix it up really good. And as it decomposes, it will release that chemical to kill or deter root knot nematodes. Carmen Stokes says, can that be done now with the marigolds that are dying off? Absolutely. Sorry, I got a bug flying around me. Yes, absolutely. You can chop down those pieces of marigolds and put it in your compost. You can chop down those pieces of marigolds and just put it in a bucket until you have more. Or if you've got a raised bed specifically that has root knot nematodes, you can chop down some of that and then dig it under. So those are all of the ways that I have found, simple ways that I have found to kill or deter specifically root knot nematodes. Now, Krista says, love the new fence. So these are peppers. I would have cried big ugly tears if I would have lost these peppers. In the very back are Tabasco peppers, and in the front are Fatali peppers. And I have been waiting for so long for these Fatali peppers this year. So yes, this is fully fenced. This is a 4-foot by 8-foot raised bed. And if you watch a couple of live chats a ways away, or I did a Facebook Live about the hogs, I have spent a lot more time and effort in deterring the wild hogs from getting into my garden. So, without further ado, I'm going to share with you a couple of disease-resistant tomatoes, specifically heirloom tomatoes. Some people say, oh, well, I don't do heirlooms because they're not as hardy or they're not disease-resistant or whatever. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, that was rude. There are disease-resistant tomatoes, and especially if you grow your own and then save your seeds, they're going to be a little more tolerant specifically to your climate. First and foremost, I am going to start with the all-star of heirloom tomatoes, and that is Cherokee purple tomato, especially because it is so relevant to what we were just discussing, root knot nematodes. Amish paste has some resistance, but it's not on my list tonight. So I only have a handful of disease resistant and things like that. So Amish paste is more crack resistant. I pulled a lot of this information from a couple of extension office or university lists, and I will be actually creating a master list from what I found, because some only say some disease resistance or unspecified disease resistance. So I'm digging deeper and I'm getting more information for you guys. But Cherokee purple tops my list because it is, not only is it an all-star in the flavor category, it is an all-star in the disease resistance category. Cherokee purple has resistance to bacterial speck, Fusarium wilt 1, Fusarium wilt 2, root knot nematodes. Hello, that was the top one we were talking about today. Tomato spotted wilt virus and verticillium wilt. All the wilts. So that's probably why Cherokee purple is my all-time favorite. It's flavor-wise, it's fantastic. Heat-wise, it does fantastic here in East Texas. I've grown it in Florida, California, and now in Texas, so I definitely highly recommend it. It is the all-star in my garden, so I would definitely recommend that one as well. David, just bear with me here. I've got a list here that I'm going to share with you, and if I don't get to those, Hungarian heart is another one that just says some disease resistance, but there's nothing specific. So I have specifics that I'm going to share with you today. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Roma tomato is next on my list. Also because it is root knot nematode resistant. So we've got some awesome lists here that I've got. It is Alternaria. I'll probably butcher the enunciation, but that's okay. Sorry, I got bugs here. I'm out in the woods. Why not? Hey, you got my field. You made it. So we're talking about Roma. It is also Fusarium wilt 1, wilt 2. Roma is also late blight resistant. Also root knot nematode resistant. Hey, Mindy, thanks for joining us. And Laughing Gardens from Arkansas, thanks for joining me too. Verticillium wilt and Verticillium wilt 1. So again, Roma is another one that is absolutely fantastic. I've had people go, oh, well, that's so boring, I'm not going to plant it. But seriously, if you're looking for something that is more disease resistant, there are heirloom seeds or heirloom varieties that will do fantastic in your garden. So Ace 55 tomato, not my favorite tomato. It's a really good red tomato. It is a standard growing red tomato. And it is Alternaria stem canker resistant. It also is, sorry, my brain is like running faster than my mouth is right now. Fusarium wilt 1, and also verticulum wilt. Inga says Siberian red is done super compared to some of the others, and you're in a cooler environment now. So Siberian red is really good for cooler weather. If you've got a shorter growing season, that is a fantastic one for you as well. Now, some of the resistance is also like it might be drought tolerant, or it might be cool tolerant, or it might be cracking tolerant, like Amish paste and Hungarian heart. Both of those are more crack resistant than some of the other varieties. So they are resistant to something, but not necessarily a disease, because cracking isn't a disease. Brandywine is usually resistant to early blight and fulvia blight. So if you've ever had blight, it's not fun. It's something that sometimes your plants can recover from, but rarely do they recover from it. So sorry, I wanted to make sure that I'm not like sitting in ants right now. Garden peach is resistant to late blight. You have green zebra is resistant to late blight and Sephoria leaf spot. Brandywine is a fantastic, and we carry in a black potato leaf. We have it in a pink brandywine. We've got it in a yellow brandywine. So there's a lot of different colors of the brandywine that are really good. Marglobe tomato is heat tolerant. That's a really good one. It also is, what is it? I'll probably remember later. Homestead tomato and Marglobe tomato are both really good for my Florida gardeners because you tend to get powdery mildew. That's the word I was looking for. And they are more resistant to powdery mildew because they are adapted to more humid climates. Same with Texas as well. But Homestead in particular is Alternaria stem canker. If you haven't had that, that's fantastic. You're lucky. I haven't had it, but I have in the past in old gardens, and Fusarium wilt as well. Mortgage lifter, my favorite red. It's called a mortgage lifter because the man who developed it back in the 30s, he crossed 3 different varieties. Yep, Floridate is a really good one for Florida gardeners. He crossed 2 or 3 different varieties to create a mortgage lifter, what he now called mortgage lifter. And he sold his tomato starts to pay off his $6,000 mortgage. I believe it was in 1940s. So that's why he called it mortgage lifter. It's a really fantastic variety. So it's been around since the 30s, almost 100 years. So it's a really good one if you want a wilt tolerant or resistant variety. Plus they grow huge. Mass Wild Cherry, my favorite cherry tomato this year, has done really, really well. It is exploding over there in the gardens. Even in the 90-degree weather here, it was still producing. So if you live in an area where it's hot, it is drought tolerant. It is tolerant of the heat, of course, because it was pretty hot here. But also Matt's Wild Cherry tomato is early blight and late blight resistant. So again, with the blights, if you have problems with that, choose a variety that is more resistant until you can get your soil healed. This Blended Homestead says, I plan on growing all those next spring. Now, if you're watching this video live, you don't have any links, but if you're watching this as a replay at a later time, I will have a more detailed list. I don't have it available on my website right now, but I will. I'm still gathering lots of information. And that was one of the things I talked about at the Master Gardeners event this weekend was, even as someone who's been growing for over 20 years, I still learn something new all the time. And so sometimes it just is down to me doing the research and putting it down on paper, or in this case on my website, so that you can see the information as well. That's the great thing about my comprehensive planting guide is I have spent hundreds of hours compiling all this information just so that I can put it on my website so that you can have it for free. You don't have to pay for any of my tutorials on my website. So that's a plus. You also don't have to pay for any of my videos. I know some people have subscriptions, and I don't knock anyone that has a subscription, but my videos here are so that you can grow a healthy garden using heirloom seeds. So on to the next one. By the way, if you haven't, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There's going to be even more videos coming up, and as it cools down and I go inside for my videos, once it starts to freeze or we have some snow, I don't usually go live outside. And yes, I'm checking to see if there's any critters behind me. Patriots Rabbitry says, I've learned I can't grow tomatoes. Oh, you can, David, and I can help you. Now that you are in a different area in Florida, there's more information that I can share with you as well. So Rio Grand tomato, which we also carry at Mary's Heirloom Seeds, is resistant to Fusarium wilt 1, 2, and verticillium wilt. Krista says, I've learned so much from you, Mary, especially since I moved to Texas. Awesome. I'm always happy to help. Hey, Naked Gardeners, thanks for joining me. I always appreciate it. Manitoba. Manitoba is another one that is a cool, tolerant, short season crop. Manitoba, Canada, for example. So if you live in an area that has a shorter growing season, or you are planting your tomatoes late in the year, Manitoba might be one that is good for you because it is faster maturing. And it is resistant to Fusarium wilt 1 and verticillium wilt as well. So the wilts. Tonight is all about the wilts, but also root knot nematodes. And if you missed the beginning of my live chat, I really hope you go back and check out the replay, because we discussed root knot nematodes, how to hopefully fix your soil, but also some disease resistant, like my absolute favorite, Cherokee purple tomato. And now I got my stuff blown away. Hey, Shirley, thanks for joining me. So the last but certainly not least on my list is Thessaloniki. That's a really funky one. It's not a super common heirloom variety. It's not really one that everybody talks about. And that one is gray leaf spot resistant. So tonight's live chat topic was disease resistant heirloom tomatoes. And I know that they have all the hybrids available to you that are F1s. If you don't know what a hybrid is, if you are shopping through a catalog online and you see F1 next to it, that's going to be a hybrid. Typically, you are growing something that you cannot save seeds from. And it's not that you're not allowed to save the seeds. It's that they are not as stable. So if you plant a F1 variety and then you harvest those seeds and then you plant them for next year, you're not going to get a plant that is true to the parent, because it's a hybrid. It's an F1 hybrid. And there's different levels of hybrids. But if you plant an heirloom seed, Krista says you prefer heirloom seeds. So do I, for obvious reasons. Well, for many reasons. For me, in my opinion, heirloom seeds are more sustainable because I can plant these amazing and beautiful Fatali peppers, and I can save my seeds, and I know that I'm going to get Fatali peppers next year from those seeds, not something random. And I've seen, especially from beginner gardeners, they say, oh, well, I bought this habanero pepper from the grocery store and I saved the seeds, and when I grew them, it wasn't the same. Is this Peppergate? No, it means that the pepper that you bought from the grocery store was either a hybrid or it crossed with something else in the field, and that's what you ended up with. So it's awesome that you can save your seeds from random things in the grocery store, but at the same time, if you want to grow true to seed next year and you want to be able to save your seeds year after year, which, yes, I sell seeds, but I also want to help you teach you how to save your seeds to plant them for next year. Heirlooms are definitely the way to go. So if you have any questions, you can always send me an email to mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. Check out my website, which is marysheirloomseeds.com. I've got 3 discount codes available right now. First 2 are my October seed sale. My October seed giveaway ended at midnight last night. all 5 winners were notified, and all 5 winners emailed me back, so their stuff is going to be sent out first thing in the morning. But we've got 2 discount codes. The first is greens24, all caps and no spaces, and that'll save you 15% off all Heirloom green seeds, my whole Heirloom greens collections. And I will update the description section of this video with this specific information as well. The second one is kits 15, KITS as in Sam, and the number 15. That's kits 15, and that will take 15% off all of our starter kits. And I will link that in the description as well. Now, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I also shared a discount code because I was dealing with wild hogs. Hence, my awesome little fence here around all of my raised beds in the new garden. And that discount code is wild hog. No, sorry, my mistake. Hog wild. I will have to double check that. I'm almost certain it's hog wild because I was just having fun. And you're going to use that in the discount section at checkout, and that's going to save you 10% off all of our regular single seed packs. Not the bulk packs, not the garlic, but it will take 10% off all the seed packs. So I'll just double check that it's hog wild, but I'm pretty sure it's hog wild. All right, and all that is going to be available at marysheirloomseeds.com. And as soon as I'm done with my live chat, I'll update the description section so that you've got the most accurate discount codes in case I made a mistake. Alrighty, everybody. I hope you enjoyed my live chat. Tonight was disease-resistant heirloom tomatoes. I try to go live here on YouTube. Oh, Hog Wild, you got it. I try to go live here on YouTube every Thursday night at 5 p.m. Central Time. I'm Mary at Mary's Heirloom Seeds signing off. Thank you for joining me, and happy planting.